entwined. Tune in now, leave reality behind. The next facts, gloom and doom collide. Get your facts, ride the cosmic tide. No mercy, no light, only raw might. Prepare your soul for an endless night. Stone riffs pound, rhythm takes hold. Welcome to the abyss, let the tale unfold. The maze fix is here, time to break the chains. Your mind will melt, can't escape these flames. The maze fix, gloom and doom collide. Get your fix, ride the cosmic tide. Streams of power, darkness entwined. Tune in now, leave reality behind. The next face, gloom and doom collide. Get your fix, ride the cosmic tide. Streams of power, darkness entwined. Tune in now, leave reality behind. The next face, gloom and doom collide. Get your fix, ride the cosmic tide. No mercy, no light, only raw might. Prepare your soul for an endless night. Stone riffs pound, rhythm takes hold. Welcome to the abyss, let the tale unfold. The maze fix is here, time to break the chains. Your mind will melt, can't escape these flames. The maze fix.
The liberal Fox News commentator that Donald Trump personally
even talking
fears
in the
above
mic.
all others, Jessica Tarlov, had a
Jimmy
tense
Ficky.
exchange at the end of a segment with two pro-MAGA Fox News hosts as they tried to breathe life into Donald Trump's lies about FEMA's response to Hurricanes Helene and Milton, and Tarlov also called out a specific Republican congressman for his cowardice. But before we unpack all that,
Gonna eat some burritos. Eat some burritos. Catch up on the informations.
If you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel,
Oh my God,
please be sure to hit
Elon
the like,
Musk.
subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, I've got several clips to show you here, but I'll check them. And
The only thing that Elon trash bag Musk could possibly do to impress me or get me to say anything positive about him at this point would be if he stood underneath his rocket the next time he goes to launch it. Stand directly underneath it. That's all I ask. Then I will be impressed and I will say positive things about him. Because the only positive contribution to society that Elon Musk can make at this moment would be to do just that. To either stand under it or be on it.
call out a Republican congressman specifically.
Lawfare that was used to indict him on
So
bogus charges.
just real quickly, we've got to leave it there. But the response on the FEMA thing was also interesting, by the way. After we just had that couple on who said they've called and have not heard back. Jessica.
Listen, I want everybody to be able to get the help that they need. But it is notable that Congressman Chuck Edwards, a Republican who was standing there shoulder to shoulder with Donald Trump, was the one who had to release a statement after the hurricane debunking all of the junk that Donald Trump was spreading.
What does that have to do with getting people help on the ground?
Well, that's the point, that when Donald Trump and his allies tell the people that the help is not coming from you, that the government doesn't care about you. And
Okay. Once again, proving that Fox doesn't hire, like, Jessica Tarlov and Neil Cavuto are the only intelligent hires working in the entire Fox corporation. And this fucking proves it. It absolutely, because here's the thing. The lies Trump is telling is that there's no help on the ground. Jessica Tarlov is addressing that very situation. The Republican politician that Donald Trump is standing beside had to debunk Donald Trump's lies about there not being any help for people on the ground. And then, so what does this fucking moron, this talking mattress, say? Oh, well, talking mattress says, well, what does that have to do with people getting help on the ground? That, well, this guy had to debunk the misinformation and disinformation that there was no help on the ground. Well, what does that have to do with people getting help on the ground? I don't know, you fucking mattress. You vapid, noisy mattress. What the fuck does help on the ground have to do with help on the ground? Fucking dipshit. Can we bring back the word bimbo just for like those specific people? Another Fox Stepford dipshit. Blonde hair, no brain, will do absolutely anything with her mouth for money.
they gave your money to undocumented people.
All right.
It's the
has an
people on the
effect.
I'm
ground
up
that are
against a
saying it.
hard
The people
break,
that are getting
guys.
crushed
Then why
on the
did-
ground
I
that are saying
appreciate
we're
the
not getting
debate.
help from FEMA.
Thank you so much to both of you.
These mushrooms make you feel better.
And that's another thing. Okay, we just have to say a bunch of lies and then cut the segment off before someone tells the truth. Fucking toddler ass bimbo. And that includes the bimbo in the suit.
They increase focus and energy while keeping you calm and
So here's the
Against a
saying that the
hard
people-
break.
That includes this bimbo right here. This bimbo right here. Because this is another thing they're doing. Notice what they're doing. They learned a new phrase, on the ground. So now they're going to spend the entire news cycle on the ground, 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 on the ground. God. And this whole thing, Trump can't do any, or Fox can't do anything without trying to do this like red, white, and blue in America, da 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 da. Good fucking God. You are like, if a comic book did a version of World War II where the Nazi party was a bunch of like jocks and preppy kids with like 60 IQ. That was the Nazi party. Like, this is what you have at Fox News. This is what you have with MAGA. If the Nazis were the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet.
People are getting crushed
Then why
on the
did-
ground.
I
that are saying,
appreciate the
we're not getting
debate.
help from FEMA.
Thank
That's
you
it.
so much to both of you.
So here's the frustrating thing. Given that thousands of people have been affected, tens of thousands, I'm sure, across 7 states. In response to Helene, this is from an updated report within the past 24 hours, FEMA has approved over $1.2 billion in assistance for communities. This includes $746 million in assistance for individuals and families, along with more than...
Here's the thing. I guarantee you, are there people who are having trouble getting through? Yeah. Are there people who are having trouble getting assistance as fast as they want the assistance? Yeah, absolutely there is. You know who's contributing to that problem? Trump. Because people in Western North Carolina being so fucking stupid and so god awful that it's hard to find people willing to go wading into all that fucking hillbilly bullshit. Put up with the death threats and the fucking toothless militias and the gravy seals. Nobody wants to deal with those 3-tooth backwoods inbred motherfuckers. So yeah, maybe tell your cousin to stop riding up and down the road with his shotgun threatening FEMA workers and go back to doing what, you know, he does best, fucking his sister.
$524 million for debris removal and efforts to protect public health and safety. As ongoing response efforts continue in Western North Carolina, FEMA has approved over $130 million in housing and other types of assistance.
There's also been a major problem. I've had people that I know personally in North Carolina letting me know, yeah, there's also a lot of issues of people like a group of MAGA dorks goes out to a road to clear debris from the road, and they take pictures and video of themselves clearing the debris, and then at some point during the video they will say the words, or after they post the pictures they'll type it as a caption, "Here we are clearing the road because FEMA wouldn't come help." Meanwhile, if you just went 10-20 miles down the road, you'd run into a bunch of FEMA people clearing debris from the road, making their way to that point. They're just being impatient and like, well, we're going to clear it before FEMA does, and then we're going to take all the credit. Because that's all MAGA does, from the voters up to Trump himself. They create a problem and then advertise themselves as the only solution to that problem they just created. They're trash.
For over 89,500 households. FEMA has spent approximately $4.3 billion on Hurricane Helene response and recovery. FEMA has deployed more than 4,900 personnel to affected areas, contributing to a total of over 7,035 federal responders who are working together to support state and local governments in their recovery efforts. FEMA personnel on the ground are actively coordinating with local officials, conducting damage assessments, and helping individuals apply for disaster assistance program. To support response and recovery efforts, FEMA has delivered over 12.6 million meals and 13.2 million liters of water to states impacted by Helene. And on
Okay.
and on and on.
I hate your
Musk is
headline.
betting big.
It's bullshit.
Really betting big on
There was no
Donald
just a
Trump and
Tarlov
just
nuking
can't stop
anybody.
praising Elon Musk at his rallies.
And I love Elon, by the way. They said, you know Elon Musk? I said, I do. In fact, he endorsed me like so beautifully. His endorsement was one of the most beautifully written endorsements. That's in between those rocket ships that go up and down all the time. I mean, how cool was that, though, right? Yeah.
Now, just a reminder, Musk is the richest person on the planet, worth more than $200 billion. So the tens of millions of dollars he is pouring into the Trump campaign isn't even a rounding error from Musk. But part of his plan, a legally dubious maneuver to encourage voter registration with $1 million a day sweepstakes for people.
Look at that. Look at him. He just looks like a leech person. Like Rob Zombie created a villain.
Who sign a petition he created. Now, the question is this bromance a real friendship? Is it transactional, a business partnership? Is it a little bit of both? My panel is back with me, and we are lucky to have Frank still with us, who wrote a terrific piece for The Atlantic, and it is called Trump May Be Musk's Trojan Horse. That is the subtitle of it. What do you think Musk stands to gain here?
So, first of all, Elon Musk is incredibly entangled with the government. He has billions of dollars of government contracts. SpaceX does a lot of NASA's core work. He's got all these contracts with the national security state. He's under investigation for various things. So he definitely needs a patron in the Oval Office. And if Trump gets in, it's an incredible business opportunity because Trump is somebody who practices a kind of cronyist type of mindset. And so there's that. And then there's this other part of what Musk is probably thinking at this time, is that he's somebody who comes from Silicon Valley, and there is this Silicon Valley libertarian fantasy about how the smartest, most super intelligent person should be the person who has their hands on the levers of government. And so Trump has invited Musk into the heart of the government. He says, you're going to be the guy who's going to get to redesign government to be more efficient. He said he's going to be the secretary of cost cutting. And so for somebody who is a monomaniac like Elon Musk, it's an incredible opportunity to not just get rich off the government, but to impose himself on America.
And let me just sort of supplement what you just said in a couple of ways. First, I'll show a quote from your piece. If Musk can propel Trump back to the White House, it will mark the moment that his own superintelligence merges with the most powerful apparatus on the planet, the American government, not to mention the business opportunity of the century. And just on that really important note.
His own superintelligence? He doesn't have any. He doesn't have any intelligence.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance, so I saved hundreds.
I'm turning it off
The money
because
I
you
saved,
people
I
won't
bought a
stop.
wax figure of myself. Cool, right?
I mean,
Look at the craftsmanship. I mean, they even got my nostrils.
look at all these alpha males lining up to suck
Years
dick.
after I'm gone. This guy will be standing the test of time. He's melting. Oh, jeez. No. Only pay for what you need.
How much is school broken?
If we're going to talk about little boys, then we've feminized little boys in making them sit in circle time at a very early age, earlier and earlier. Pre-K used to be not earlier. In my day, it was 1 year before kindergarten, 4. At 4 years old, you went to pre-K 3 days a week, 3 hours a day.
Yeah, that's what I.
And sometimes your mommy sat in the background and watched you play, so you could do what Margaret Mahler called rapprochement, which is go do emotional refueling and go get a hug and then go back to play, sort of like
I've heard
Mommy
this.
and me.
You sort of go off,
Yeah.
and that circle actually grows. You first get there, you're attached, then you make a quick little run, and you come back.
That's right.
And then you get a little further.
What the? I would pay at least $300 for permission to walk through YouTube's offices and just slap and punch everybody I see. And this is why. Yeah, because, you know, I'm a leftist. I watch all this leftist stuff. I watch a lot of LGBT stuff. So yes, let's flood you with ads from openly, blatantly bigoted trash. I mean, what? What are you trying to get me to do, YouTube? Are you trying to get me so infuriated that I go to your corporate office and kick in your door and just go fucking ultra violent on all your asses? Or are you trying to get me to hunt this guy down and do that? Which one are you trying to do? Because, I mean, if that's not the goal, then what is the goal? Seriously, if that's not the goal, then what is the goal? Putting bigoted ads, racists and bigots. Every time I go to watch Philip DeFranco, I have to sit through something from Daily Wire or some other bigot or some other racist. Every single fucking time. Clothing. Isn't that false advertising? Because it's not clothing. They're not advertising clothing. It's a 5.5 minute ad, and it's not for clothing. No, it's a 6 minute ad. It's a 6 minute ad, and it's not for clothing. 6, 7 minute ad. Holy fuck. So there's more lies. That says 525, and it's clearly not. It's it's over 7 minutes, but that thing says 5:25. And then it's also advertising as clothing when it's obviously not clothing. I hope that Dad Saves America dude gets beat up for real. I hope someone sees him on the street and is like, I'm sick of your fucking ads, and just like drills him square in the mouth.
Sup, you beautiful bastards. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, your daily dive into the news. We have a lot to talk about on today's extra large show. But first, we got to talk about this Twitch dumpster fire, because there are actually several different news stories happening here, though kind of at the center of it, you have Ethan Klein, Hassan Piker, and a creator by the name of Frogan. But where we'll start is with the fact that over the past few days, we've seen the platform accused
Fuck Ethan Klein.
of ignoring anti-Semitism by creators like Ethan Klein. Multiple content creators have been banned for what were deemed hateful comments, and all of the fallout that's come from that. Over the center of it, you have Ethan Klein, Hassan Piker, and a creator by the name of Frogan. But where we'll start is with the fact that over the past few days, we've seen the platform accused of ignoring anti-Semitism by creators like Ethan Klein. Multiple content creators have been banned for what were deemed hateful comments, and all of the fallout that's come from that as creators and fans go after one another. Though technically, you could say that all of this started when Asmongold made his horrendous comments last week degrading Gazans, which, as we covered on the show, is something he
and Ethan's no different
after getting banned. But then the spotlight on the situation shifted.
It's funny when Asmongold turns out to be a better person than Ethan Klein, right?
After Klein put out a video last Thursday called Twitch Has a Major Problem. And in that video, Ethan claims that Twitch harbors anti-Semites and actively ignores it. And as some evidence, he points out that Twitch recently unbanned Sneeko and Fresh and Fit, or content creators that are unambiguously anti-Semitic. And then on top of that, he highlighted this segment from an official panel at TwitchCon, where multiple Arab content creators alongside some non-Arabs made a tier list.
Well, it's a panel hosted by Frogan and 4 of her friends, in which they have a tier list where they rate people where good is Arab and bottom is loves Sabra. Sabra is a very popular hummus brand. I know in Israel, it's pretty much in everybody's refrigerator, and it's kosher. They're an American.
Oh my God. If you don't like Sabra, you're anti-Semitic. Oh my God. See, Ethan Klein is one of those people that I talk about when I say, no, this is the dumbest timeline because we have Jewish Nazis. Ethan falls into that category, along with like a huge chunk of Israel, that AIPAC lobbying group. I mean, it's fucked up. Jewish Nazis. They are real in this world, on this timeline. And he's one of those because you know what? Hey, we gotta shove all these brown people in the oven because they said something mean about kosher hummus or whatever the fuck that shit is. I don't even know what the hummus, whatever is. I've never had it. But the company does, I mean, here's the thing. Hummus, there you go. But the thing is Israel really is evil for what they're doing to the Palestinians. And yeah, I know all the dumbass arguments. But they tried a two-state solution. Palestine didn't want it, but Palestine's terrorist. But Palestine supports Hamas. Palestine da. Oh, okay. So, if you're a Republican who lives in a Republican state, so that means everybody in your state is a Republican and supports MAGA and MAGA values. If you're a Democrat who lives in a Republican state, oh, so you're not actually a Democrat, you're really a Republican who supports MAGA and Donald Trump? Okay, let's say you're a Republican who lives in a Democrat state. Oh, nope. Everybody in it's a Democrat state. So everybody who lives in the state is a Democrat who supports all the Democrat ideology. So you can't call yourself a Republican if you live in a Democrat state. You're really a Democrat and you really support Democrats and Kamala Harris. I mean, that's what y'all sound like with all this, but Palestine this, but Palestine that. See, that's why when I talk about Israel, I'm like I'm being specific. Well, the Israeli government, the Israeli military, well, the people who support that, they are this way. They believe this way. They do these things. I'm not saying all of Israel because there's a lot of smart people in Israel who thinks this whole Jewish Nazi bullshit is trash and they need to go. They're against this fucking settler program where they literally just go into the West Bank and just grab a mom and her kids and just throw them to the fucking street at gunpoint for no fucking reason, just so they can steal her house, just so they can flex their fucking, well, I'm the big dick swinging Jew around here. Oh, but if you criticize that or you point that out that that's happening and you criticize it and point out how inhuman it is and you point out that these people are fucking filth, they're monsters. Oh, you're anti-Semitic. No, I'm not anti-Semitic. You're just anti-intellectual, you dumbass. Take the kosher cock out your mouth.
American company, but they've been the
Because sucking Netanyahu's dick ain't kosher.
subject of the pro-Palestine boycott. I mean, it's kind of just Arab good, Jew bad. I mean, I'm having a hard
Kissing
time seeing
Ethan
this any
Klein's
other way. What's
ass
crazy
is not
that
kosher.
I've been suspecting that Twitch has an anti-Semitism problem. Obviously,
I don't like stale bagels. Oh, I'm anti-Semitic. Fuck you, Ethan.
it started with Hassan platforming Houthi
Yeah, I mean, his name is Hassan. Clearly anti-Semitic.
terrorists and showing unfettered terrorist propaganda on his channel.
And then along with that, Klein also added,
If they were really serious about anti-Semitism, Sneeko and Fresh and Fit would never have been brought back to the platform. It's just a no-brainer, right?
Dude, that's just it. Sneeko and Fresh and Fit are actually anti-Semitic. All this other bullshit is just dumb. Because Ethan tries to say, well, no, everything I don't like is anti-Semitic. Everything I don't like is anti-Semitism. It's fucking ignorant. It's fucking stupid. No. Are Fresh and Fit and Sneeko anti-Semitic? Oh, absolutely. They're bigots and racists, though. That's the thing. That's where you're getting it wrong. And it's more of this. No. We gotta claim this because we have to be the victims here. It's another thing I'm fucking sick of is this fucking victimhood Olympics all over the fucking globe. People having real issues, real problems, but can't get them addressed because you got idiots like Ethan Klein going, no. I have to be the most victimist victim. No, Sneeko and Fresh and Fit shouldn't be banned for being anti-Semitic. They should be banned for being fucking like racist and bigoted in general. They're not just anti-Semitic. That's why you can actually point to them as legitimate examples of anti-Semitism because they're prejudiced against a whole fucking grocery list of people. You know, they are legitimately bigoted, legitimately racist. That's why you can go, oh, look, there's actual anti-Semitism. But then when you say, hey, these people are making fun of people who eat this hummus, that's not anti-Semitic. That's them expressing themselves in their opinion that this company is engaged in stuff that isn't cool. And it shouldn't be seen as cool. Oh, no, you're being anti-Semitic. And they weren't even making it serious. It was just like a tearless joke. Well, there's some anti-Semitism going on. But here's the thing. if Ethan was doing this tier list, and it was like, who's the best Jew? Oh, this is fine. This is fine. And I remember a day, I remember a time when this type of rhetoric, calling everything anti-Semitic even when it isn't, trying to play this victimhood, trying to get like special, singled out to be treated like Fabergé eggs, all this stuff, questioning loyalties and all this. I remember when that stuff used to get labeled as anti-Semitic. But somewhere along the way, people like Ethan Klein became the loudest voices and then weaponized his, I don't know, is he actually religious? Or is he another one of those people who just like uses the I'm a Jew thing to get, because there's people out there where I'm from, a lot of people get called out for claiming Native American heritage, but they only do it for the attention or the recognition or to be singled out for special, to be looked at as special or something like that. And you'll hear a lot people who like try to weaponize their service, like JD Vance, people who honestly don't give a single fuck about the military unless it's trying to say, well, I'm a military, so vote for me. And it's like, dude, you fucking carried a camera, did the bare minimum 4 years, and then ran away. And this is the motherfucker who tries to question Tim Waltz, who served for 24, 25 years. And then, which is 10 times longer than the average person serves in the military. But left that to go find an even greater way to serve his country. And yeah, so JD Vance, little pipsqueak who did his bare minimum 4 years, carried a camera the whole fucking time, and then ran away like a little pussy. Yeah, he's MAGA's idea of a big manly man. But the guy who spent a quarter, like, if he lives to be 100, a man who spent a quarter, which most people don't live to be 100, so a guy who spent more than a quarter, probably a third of his life serving in the military, spent however many years coaching football, and then went into like the ground level politics to help his neighbors and stuff, that's the guy we're going to demonize. If we're going to be MAGA, we're going to pretend, even though he's the poster boy for what American values used to be, we're going to make fun of him and demonize him. Say JD Vance, no, he's the big hero. Ethan Klein, he's the special boy because he's got the big YouTube channel. Fuck you. Fuck you. Man, I have met people a million times more deserving of what Ethan Klein has. Mostly because they didn't want that. They didn't feel they deserved that. They just saw themselves as just a regular person trying to get by and do as much good for everybody else as they could. But no, it's guys like him. He gets the microphone. He gets the camera. Why? Because he doesn't really have a properly functioning moral compass. That's how and why he gets to where he is. Because that's how America works. That's how capitalism works. That's how capitalism is designed. Very few people get to this point by being good. And Philip DeFranco is the perfect example of that. He became famous by being an absolute piece of shit. But then he woke up one day and said, holy fuck, I'm famous for being a piece of shit. I'd rather be famous for being a good person, and started reinventing himself. and rebuilding himself, not reinventing. He rebuilt himself. But he can even tell you, if he would have been who he is now from the get-go, from the beginning, then he wouldn't be where he is now.
But they were welcomed back with open arms. And I mean, their whole platform essentially for the past year has.
Yeah, but you're problematic too. And you're not banned, you piece of shit. You said bigoted shit. But they get welcome back with open arms. And I say bigoted stuff all the time on purpose, just to get the attention and get the lulls. And I'm welcome back with open arms, but I'm not gonna talk about that because I gotta be the victim.
Has just been anti-Semitism. I'm not even kidding. At that.
Anti-Semitism, 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 anti-Semitism. Hey, would you like some anti-Semitism on your anti-Semitism? I'm going to go up to McAnti-Semitism and I'm going to get a big anti-Semitism and a side of anti-Semitisms and maybe a large anti-Semitism with lots of anti-Semitism. You know, I think that's a number 3. Is it? Would you like to anti-Semitism that? Fuck.
That's literally all they talk about.
Now, all of that then led.
That's literally all they talk about. See? He has to be the victim. No, 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 no. I will cry if you don't let me be the victim. No, that's not all they talk about. I would say they talk about like racism and misogyny way more than they do anti-Semitism. Because they only get anti-Semitic like when the issue of like Jews comes across the radar. And then it's just like in passing. They control everything, stuff like that. You know, the old tropes that have been around for forever. But no, they spend the majority of their shows like doing like racist shit, bigoted shit, like bashing trans, like Sneeko spends enough time talking about trans people that like I'm pretty sure he's telling on himself. Not that he is trans, but that he wants to be with a trans person. And combined, Fresh and Fit and Sneeko, like everybody knows 90% of their platform is bashing women, being misogynistic. And then they'll occasionally switch off to do this alpha male, beta male stuff. So it's anti-Semitism is literally all they talk about. It's more of Ethan trying to be a fucking victim.
To Frogan, who's a mod for Hassan Piker Stream.
I have to be the victim.
Responding and writing on Twitter. Ethan Klein lied again and said myself, Arabs, which is the show, and our guest did a tier list where, quote, good equals Arab and Jew equals bad, which isn't what happened. Our tier list was, quote, who has Habibi Pass, which is a meme tier list we did with a variety of creators.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because, oh, God, I forgot about that. Because it was just such a short thing. Like, it was just like, So it just went through so quick that I had forgotten it. And it makes me feel stupid because they even brought it up. But I didn't. I mean, I thought it was like, guess it was Twitch or something, but it was like the word Habibi. People were triggered over the word Habibi or that term or something about, but yeah, but it was totally connected to the word Habibi. That's what it was all about. And then, yeah, I remember now, like, because I saw a clip where Hassan referenced himself getting the Arab thing at the top, like getting the top tier, and him making a comment about how, and no, it's not because Frogan's my mod or something like that.
Here is the clip with the context, rather than sharing a clip from that event and adding. The whole basis of my podcast, Arabs with Capri and Raf, is that we are all Arabs from different religious backgrounds. I am Muslim, Capri is Christian, and Raf is Jewish. Sabra hummus is objectively the worst hummus to exist and is the unfortunate standard of hummus in the US. Right, and so with that, you had some feeling that was a reasonable
Yeah. That was, oh, yeah, that's the other thing. I remember that, like, because I remember now, like, someone else I know who is a huge fan of hummus because they eat a lot of it for exercise and stuff. Apparently, fitness people are really into hummus. I don't know why. But like all the joggers I know are fans of hummus. I just like, because you could like dip a cracker in it while you're running and you don't have to stop running. I don't know. But yeah, Sabra being like garbage hummus, like Sabra being the baloney of hummus is what one friend said. It's the baloney of hummus.
response, though others still called it a dog whistle to say Israeli without saying, especially given the context. Response, though others
Feelings. Yes, that's the thing. The gaslighting here is crazy. It is. So stop doing it, whimsical wizard. Stop gaslighting people because it is crazy. We know exactly what you were doing. Okay, Deeps. So you have this crazy power where you can like read a person's thoughts. You're a fucking moron.
still called it a dog whistle to say Israeli without saying, especially given the context.
And I guarantee you, if Phil would have clicked on those accounts, it would have been like 0 followers, 1 followers.
Klein gave earlier about its popularity
Account created 3 days ago.
in Israel. However, all of that was kind of just
Account
the iceberg.
account created 5 minutes before I tweeted this.
Frogan ended up deciding just a day later to open up an entirely new can of worms after saying on stream,
I have no pity at all for any fucking soldiers. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. U.S. military? Boo fucking who? I hope you get PTSD. The ones the ones I'm like whatever about the U.S. soldiers are the ones that like acknowledge that like what they did was wrong. They didn't know back then. Whatever. You're a good person in my book. The U.S. military that are like, yeah, like, you know, I did this back then, but now I know it's wrong. Like, I'm changed. Like, imperialism. This, you don't deserve the PTSD. But like any other motherfucker, you're joining them. You're like, oh my god, I want my fucking.
Yeah, that fucking yeehaw, y'all. Let's go get 'em, boys. I feel the exact same fucking way she does. Like, seriously, my uncle is one of those motherfuckers who he wants to get all this special treatment because he did his bare minimum 4 years in the army, turning a fucking wrench in Afghanistan. But, you know, because I was in the army for these 4 years and because I was within the borders of Afghanistan, then I deserve to be, you know, like worshiped and treated like a special little boy. But then, like, but then that's where his give a fuck about the military stops. We were having a discussion about politics before he decided to disown the family for not loving Trump, and that is the truth. My dumbass uncle disowned any family member who doesn't worship Trump with him. But we were having this political discussion, and he posted a video from a veteran and said, well, listen to this guy. He's a veteran. Okay. So then I took a post, a screenshot of a post from Stone Kettle, and I posted it back at him, and it was Stone Kettle disagreeing with the point and explaining why it was a bad take. And I posted that and I said, well, here, read this. He's a veteran. And my dumbass uncle said, that doesn't mean anything. He's still a moron. And then I said, well, then it doesn't matter that the video that you posted was from a veteran. He's still a moron. So then my dumbass uncle came back to me with this, oh, well, I'd like to see you go through half of the stuff he went through. I mean, all of a sudden, yeah. Well, when it's someone who agrees with me, then being a veteran makes you a special boy. But if you disagree, it don't matter. You're a moron. No, my uncle is a moron. I think he drinks so much he pickled his brain.
Camaro, no student loans. Fuck you. I hope you get PTSD, and I hope you get no health insurance when you get back into fucking America.
Now, with that, she did eventually give a sorta apology, but even with that,
insurance when you get back into fucking America.
now with that,
U.S. military has conducted some of the most horrific crimes against humanity in the modern era in countries such as Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Lebanon, and Palestine. Yeah, like my fucking uncle. He came back calling, to this day, he refers to Arabs as sand in words. But that's okay. But if, someone like Frogan or somebody else wants to criticize my piece of shit uncle who very much deserves it and everybody like him, oh no, we got to protect those special boys.
that she did eventually give a sorta apology.
I mean, I get the whole, I wish them all PTSD. I mean, but here's the thing. What if she said, I hope they spend the rest of their lives racked with guilt over the things they said and did? Well, that would be okay, right? I hope they spend the rest of their lives suffering and eaten up with guilt, having nightmares, waking up in cold sweats for all of the atrocities they committed and the atrocities they supported and the atrocities they laugh about. Well, that's fine, right? That's fine, right? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess you word it that way. It's the same thing. It's just when she said, get PTSD, it's just like, yeah, we edited it for brevity. Post-traumatic stress syndrome. I mean, she's like, yeah, I hope you're traumatized by I hope one day you are as traumatized by the things you've said and done as the people you traumatize. I wish everything on you that you have committed. But because they wore a uniform, special boy, gotta protect them.
But even with that, many users pointed out that Twitch's hateful conduct specifically covers veteran status, so they argued that she should be banned, arguing things like Twitch ban logic. Rogan saying military service members should...
And that is moronic. It is moronic. Veteran status is protected. Being a Jew in Israel, unable to even create an account on the website. Wait, what? Why do they always have to lie so much? Why do they always have to and it's always got to be no, I'm the victim. And it's always and then they don't understand. It's like, okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna try to put this to where anybody who watches this can understand what I'm getting at. Okay. You know how a lot of people like to dunk on okay, like the triggered girl, which that gets used for politics. But you know, it's like, oh, the blue haired people, which blue hairs used to refer to old people. But blue haired biddies, but the activists, the bleeding hearts, people are always dunking on like trans activists and like, oh my god, you guys are always you're always playing that card. You're always playing that card, and that's why nobody likes you. That's why everybody's sick of hearing about you because you're always playing that card. Well, I mean, look, it's right there. Point four. Bullet point four. You're always playing that card. It's not anti-Semitism. Is shut the fuck up. When it's really happening, then let's talk about it. But stop trying to fucking fabricate outrage. It's like it's become like a like Fox News levels of bullshit. And that's why people are like sick of it, because it's just like you can't even, I mean, you can't even discuss like hey, did you watch X-Men 97 the other night? Well, you know, I saw this one thing in there and I feel it was anti-Semitic. I feel it was aimed at the Jew. I mean, that's what it's like.
Should get PTSD. No suspension. E-Girl streams softcore porn. 24-hour suspension. Asmongold calling Muslims inferior. 14-day suspension. Being a Jew in Israel. Unable to even create an account on the website. Which I'll say, we're going to talk about that last bit at the end of this story. But like always with situations like this led to people digging up old clips of her saying other questionable things. Like with a clip where it appears that she may be hinting that her cousin may be involved with Hezbollah. But either way, by Monday, Twitch eventually cracked down and banned Frogan, which led many to believe that it was because she was wishing American veterans get PTSD. However, it appears that that is not the official reason. Instead, it appears that it was because of her comments on that TwitchCon panel, which is over a month ago, because they also banned the others on that panel, which also led to calls that it was being racist.
Twitch just banned some of those prominent Middle Eastern voices similar for using their platform to speak about Palestine. You're a racist platform. You don't even try to hide it.
Against Middle Eastern voices. And then on top of that, Twitch permanently banned Sneeko, something that Klein felt was necessary if they wanted to tackle anti-Semitism seriously. And it also looks like the decision was in part taken because of pressure from the Anti-Defamation League, with the ADL even tweeting out a whole thread on this that started by saying, ADL spoke with the Twitch staff today after becoming aware of several concerning incidents on the social media platform and or involving Twitch streamers in the past week, and then going on to mention Frogan by name. And so
I wish the Anti-Defamation League felt as strongly about every other form of defamation as they do. I mean, because it's like, it's not really the Anti-Defamation League, is it? It's the Anti-Semitism League.
with all this, we've seen Frogan not happy with her 30-day ban, saying 30-day ban for saying people like bottom of the barrel hummus, but other people get 2 weeks for advocating for the genocide.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That is true. It's so stupid.
Of Palestinians. Got it. Or with that last part, a pretty obvious reference to Asmongold's ban. But with all of that said, like, that doesn't even bring us close to the end of all this. Right? Because after the ban of Frogan and others on that panel, many of whom were avid pro-Palestinian voices, content creators like Hassan Piker began to react in frustration. And in particular to a lot of these controversies being spread and encouraged by various subreddits and the creators associated with them, to which Hassan said,
there is no winning in this
No.
battle. Okay? There is no winning in this battle.
No.
There's nothing you and I or this community or anyone can do. Nothing at all. This is precisely the reason why I just eat it every fucking day. Okay? for the past 12 months, this has been endless. Okay? When they can't get anything off of me and
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a little guy, right? I'm a nobody. Nobody watches my shit. Nobody reads my posts or anything. I'm talking to an invisible audience and a non-existent audience. But still, like, just because I'm very outspoken politically, I just active enough to get noticed by Facebook's algorithms. And because of that, during the 2020 election cycle, I spent the entire year banned. Like, no joke. My Facebook account was banned for a full year. It would come off being banned and go right back on being banned. And it was for the most bullshit reasons. And they even turned my appeals off. No matter how much I clicked on the appeals, it would just like go to nothing. And then it stopped even giving me the option to click the appeal thing. But like, they banned me for posting a video of 2 loaves of bread in 2 bread pans. It was obvious. The hand was there, the pot holder, putting them in the oven, the whole 9 yards. It was right there. It was obvious. It said it was nudity. And then someone posted a thing that was making fun of these people with a Confederate flag. So I reposted it. I hit the repost. I got banned for that. And this was like 10 minutes after I had just been banned. I had just come off my being banned. I had been off ban for 10 minutes. And I click the repost and then got banned for sharing that post. But the original person, I even said, I'm going to test this. And I reported the original poster and got the message back. This does not go against our community standards. But like I told you, they turned off my appeals. So I couldn't send them that screenshot of them telling me that the image, them literally telling me, we know this doesn't go against. But yeah, and I am not joking. I'm not exaggerating. If they keep those records and you could look at my account, you would see my account was dead for an entire year. It stopped after the election. I stopped getting banned after the election. This year, the same thing fucking started for a bit. And then a bunch of people started calling it out. And then famous people started calling it out. I'm openly leftist and I'm catching bans for shit left and right. Meanwhile, you know, I report someone like posting blatantly, like I reported someone who just literally posted this. I'm not going to repeat what they said, but it was like the equivalent of calling Arabs sand N-words. It was something to that effect. And I reported it and got the message back. This does not go against our standards. Meanwhile, I reshared something that someone else had that was this thing making fun of Trump by showing him in a compromising position with Vladimir Putin, like they were cuddling and kissing. And I caught a fucking 3-day ban because it was sexual exploitation. The original poster did not catch a ban.
My statements, then they fucking turn around and, you know, pick apart different statements from the chat. If they can't do that, they go after people that are also pro-Palestinian, but have smaller audiences.
Hassan then went on to claim that many people's opinions are turned into a caricature of who they are. Like, for example, he says that Muslim people are often painted as anti-Semitic no matter what. And with that, arguing that there isn't much he can do to change people's minds about it.
There is nothing I can do.
They are.
There is nothing I can do. All I can
They
do
are.
is just take.
It's all over the place. Even Bill Maher, who tries to market himself as a progressive, but then turns around and does this. No, all Muslims are like this. But then he'll say, well, no, not all. You can't say all Christians are this way. You can't say all Jewish people are this way. And then he'll turn around out the other side of his stupid ass turkey waddle neck and go with his crooked ass. He doesn't even know. He's so dumb that he doesn't even know how to wear his glasses straight. He wears his glasses like this. You watch the show, you can see the arm of his glasses. But yeah. No, all Muslims are this way.
Take it.
All Palestinians
just
are
like
this way.
all Capri Sun Poppy and Frogan and everyone else that's getting banned in this mass ban wave, that all they can do is take it.
But then at almost the exact same time Hassan was making these statements on his stream, Klein was also streaming. With most of that criticizing Twitch for having an anti-Semitism problem, right? Talking about the recent unbans and criticizing people like Hassan for letting it become commonplace on Twitch. And among his problems with Hassan is that he's promoting this guy from Yemen who many think, Klein included, is actively involved in Houthi piracy. So this is others argue that at the very least, he's just a guy that is extremely anti-Semitic. Klein also blasted Hassan and others because of clips like this.
I think like anyone who does our general job, and especially someone like him who I only make $3 million a month. I'm middle class. He makes $30 million a month.
He's upper middle class.
He's upper middle class, and it's like, we won the lottery. Why are you bitching about the...
This motherfucker says you are rich, so why do you care about anti-Semitism? Also, like, Hassan is fucking as rich, like probably as rich as I am. Let's be honest. He downplays as well. He gets like the same concurrence.
I don't understand why Ethan is rich though, because he got to where he is by alternating between either being dumb or being a prick. And like I said, he's like bigoted all the fucking time. Never gets in trouble for it. He always gives the same empty. Well, he used to. I don't know why I did that. That's not the real me. That's not how I really am. But now he doesn't even do it anymore. He never checks his ego anymore. Like, he never even tries to check his ego anymore. He's just like, yeah, fuck this guy, fuck this guy, fuck this guy. I'm the victim.
Current viewers as we do, and he collects all the money straight to the dome himself, okay? So, like, the same logic, just say, hey, son, why are you getting so worked up about Gaza, man? We won the lottery. You're rich, dude. Just chill. Like, what a pathetic fucking response.
And honestly, I mean, for this part, it kind of just goes on and on from there because they're doing all these during live streams. We're talking about tons and tons of hours.
And
I'll
Ethan
link to
is
it down below.
very
It's just
smart.
something we can't cover point by point in this show. So if you want to do an even deeper dive, you have the tools at your fingertips. But then, as I promised I would come back and touch on, something that many people have pointed to as proof that Twitch was being anti-Semitic is the fact that Israelis weren't able to sign up to the site. Right? Among others, you had political commentators like Destiny bring this up, and also, Twitch said that it fixed it shortly afterward, saying when signing up for a Twitch account, you can select an account verification method, email or phone.
We want to address concerns we've seen about whether we're preventing Twitch accounts in some regions. When signing up for a Twitch account, you can select an account verification method, email, or a phone for added protection. Following the October 7, 2023 attacks with temporarily disabled signups with email verification in Israel and Palestine. We did this to prevent uploads of graphic material related to the attack and to protect the safety of users. Signups were not disabled, and we continued to see signups from both regions. Users could choose to sign up with phone verification. We've learned that inadvertently we did not re-enable email verification signups for either region. We deeply regret this unacceptable miss and confession it has caused. We fixed the issue, meaning all affected users can sign up with email verification. We also Concerns about whether community guidelines apply to all content on our service. We continue to enforce our rules.
For added protection. Following the October 7th,
So you could still do it through
attacks, we
phone.
temporarily disabled sign-up
No one.
email.
So no one bothered to check to see if it worked through the phone. No one said, "Hold on, let me try a different device."
Verification in Israel and Palestine, and going on to claim we.
I mean, it's still shit that they forgot to turn the email thing, and I don't understand that. We turned off email verification, but not phone verification, in order to prevent horrific images. But if someone's going to be showing horrific images from live in the region, it's most likely going to be they're going to be using a device that's held in their hand called a phone. That, hey, we're streaming this. People aren't walking up and down the street with like their fucking like laptop camera looking into the camera. Oh, stop hitting the power button. Oh, I mean, that's weird. That is weird and wild. But so I don't understand that. That's fucked up. But also at the same time, it's fucked up to no one tried their phone. Like no one looked and said, "Hey, I mean, because like I've never been in a room where someone was like, "Oh, I can't log in." You know, someone was sitting in front of a computer and said, "Oh, I can't log in." And then someone nearby held up their phone and said, "Well, I just logged in just fine." I've never been in a situation where that didn't happen. Unless I was the only person in the room. But even then, I would pick up my phone just to check. Is it my computer? Is it the phone? No one in the vicinity tried that.
We did this to prevent uploads of graphic material related to the attack and to protect the safety of users. But Twitch then going on to say that not letting users sign up with an email later on, that was a mistake and just an oversight and that it's fixed now. So this, as you might have noticed, there was a big community note on that. With that note claiming that Twitch's explanation is not true and that even phone verification signups weren't working. With now all of that said and as things continue to play out in real time, I gotta pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts with this mess? Any and all of it. I know there are a number of things at play here. Any and all of it. I'd love to hear from you in those comments down below. But then, taking a quick break from the news, does anyone else equate fall with the ultimate comfort vibe? And in my opinion, nothing says comfort and cozy like cozier. Like they've mastered the you deserve it. But then, in big news, the former CEO of Abercrombie has been arrested in a...
I used to have a shirt from Hot Topic. Was it Hot Topic? It was either Hot Topic or Spencer's. But it was, the fake brand shirts. It imitates a brand. But I had a shirt that was supposed to be, it was a parody of Abercrombie and Fitch. It was an exact replica of one of their shirts right down to the logo. But if you actually looked, instead of Abercrombie and Fitch, it said grab a booty and pinch.
Sex trafficking investigation. His name is Mike.
I loved that shirt. Grab a booty and pinch.
Jeffries, and he's been a controversial figure in fashion for decades now. Back when he was the CEO of the brand from 1992 to 2014, he really built the brand around sexualization, even though
he looks like the crazy version of Nick Gary Busey.
Oh, it was a teen store. He was also widely known for fat phobia, intentionally not making large sizes for women, and saying that he hired good-looking people because he only wanted hot, cool people shopping in his stores. All of which made him a very...
He looks like if Gary Busey was a jock instead of like who he is.
a very divisive figure. But today's news much bigger because it centers around the fact that he was arrested and charged with running a sex trafficking ring while he was in charge of Abercrombie. With also the Wall Street Journal reporting that a federal indictment lists 15 alleged John Doe victims. He also was arrested alongside his partner Matthew Smith, as well as their employee James Jacobson, who reports say is accused of recruiting and hiring men for Matthew Smith, as well as their employee James Jacobson.
That man is really doing the syphilis nose thing.
Jacobson, who reports
syphilis nose,
say is accused of recruiting and hiring men for parties and hosting tryouts where he required the victims to have sex with him. Jeffrey is accused of pressuring models to attend sex parties, paying for their involvement, supplying them with muscle relaxants, Viagra, and lubricant, with prosecutors alleging he would mislead these victims into thinking they were attending modeling shoots. And the Journal reporting that the indictment even says that Jeffries and his partner injected men in their penises with a prescription-grade erection-inducing substance for the purpose of causing the men to engage in sex acts in which they were otherwise physically incapable or unwilling. And as shocking as some of these allegations are, they're also not completely surprising. Because, for example, last year, a BBC investigation included claims that he had sexually exploited and abused men at parties that they hosted. A civil lawsuit was also filed after the report, launching similar in the courthouse and not to the media. But then, when you hear DIY, you're can effectively become 6 at the fraction of the original cost. But it's not always super easy, and it can require sterile medical supplies and a little math to actually do it right, which is what I use to read the news. But then, whether you call it the scariest haunted house in America or a torture chamber in disguise, McCamey Manor is back. Because technically, it's a haunted house in Summertown, Tennessee, but it's also attracted a lot of controversy over the years where it's, we'll call it extreme methods. With participants even having to sign a 40-page waiver, provide a doctor's note, show proof of medical insurance, submit to a background check, and do interviews before going inside. And if someone actually decided to read the waiver, they would discover that tooth pulling, finger breaking, or head shaving could all be on the menu during the several hour-long experience. And that's without mentioning, as others have described, being water.
I mean, I'm pretty certain that, this is a Dexter situation. Let's face it. Let's face it. This is a Dexter situation. Okay? You've got people signing up to work here because they've been wanting to do this stuff to people, but they don't want to go to jail because normally you take that waiver out and 99% of the things they do to people in this haunted house are illegal, would be jailable offenses. So they do this thing knowing they're going to have some sick motherfuckers signing up. Who knows? Maybe the people running the haunted house are fucking like sickos who should be locked up. And they watched an episode of Dexter and said, hey, What's a way I can take the fucked up things in my head and give myself a legal way to be able to do them?
Boarded, tased, whipped, covered in tarantulas, and trapped in small boxes. And then, if you make it through all of that and you get to the end, there's supposedly a $20,000 prize, though no one's actually ever gotten it. But then also, if you can't finish, you can't quit either. It's actually written in the waiver that once you're in unless, quote, serious psychological injury is present, which is one previous participant explained to The Guardian. That can be an issue. Serious psychological injury is present, which is one previous participant explained to The Guardian. That can be an issue when you're being bound, masked, and held underwater, slapped and stomped on, and compelled to eat your own vomit. And in fact, you had the Manor's owner, Russ McCamey, telling Hulu in a documentary last year, either you actually complete the tour, which is not going to happen, or you mentally or physically are at such a breaking point that it's not safe for you to continue, and I need...
Yeah, so that's what he's doing. I mean, he's admitting that he's someone who should be arrested. I'd be like, sure, I'll sign up, but here's the thing. Somebody tries to like lay hands on me, like someone tries to come at me to extract a tooth or something like that. I'm going to knock all your fucking teeth out. So I hope you signed a waiver too, because I'm going to curb stomp your ass. You try to put my head underwater, you're going underwater. I promise you. That's what I want. That's probably why they do the interview process. They make sure that they only let people through who wouldn't be able to physically defend themselves. Because I guarantee you, if someone like Brock Lesnar or Batista was like, I'll sign up for your little haunted house, they'd be, no, nope, no way, no way. Because when we tried to cut your hair or we tried to pull your tooth out or we tried to put your head underwater, you would break us like we should rightfully be broken.
Need to take you out. Now, since the release of that
They're
film
sick.
titled Monster Inside, America's Most Extreme Haunted
They're
House,
sick.
interest in McCamey Manor has surged. And McKinney just announced that his attraction has opened its doors once again for this Halloween season. This notably flying in the face of an online petition started back in 2019 with nearly 200,000 signatures that are trying to get the haunted house shut down. With it describing McCamey Manor as a torture chamber under disguise and explaining they do screenings to find the weakest, most easily manipulated people to do the haunt. If Russ doesn't think you're easily manipulated, you aren't allowed to go.
That's what I just said. If it was someone like that could obviously defend themselves, no, it would be a no. I mean, I'll even put Joe Rogan up there, as much as I don't like Joe Rogan. They'd never say yes to Joe Rogan. And for two reasons. One, they know that Joe Rogan, like, if we're doing actual haunted house scenario, psychologically, what have you, Joe Rogan's fine. But they also know that if someone tried to hold Joe Rogan down and yank one of his teeth out, that he would yank arms off before he'd lose a tooth. They know for a fact that he would whoop everybody's ass who tried to do that, because that's physical assault. That's not haunted house. That's some sicko, some demented fucking sicko getting away with legally assaulting people. And they should be locked in fucking cages. They should have the same things done to them. That's what should happen. That would be awesome. If like people snatched them up and put them through everything in the house to see how long they last. And when they beg for it to stop, don't.
Go. And adding some people have had to seek professional psychiatric help and medical care for extensive injuries, saying one man was tortured so badly he passed out multiple times. Workers only stopped because they thought they had killed him. Though with this, you had McCamey just defending himself in an interview with the Daily Mail, saying that he vets people to keep knuckleheads and fakers from getting in, and claiming that he actually prefers people with a background in law enforcement or the military, arguing, if all of those crazy, horrible things said about me are true, I wouldn't be free.
Yeah, wrong.
Running around doing what I want to do. Though he may have spoken too soon, right? And that because the documentary caught the attention of Tennessee's Attorney General, who opened an investigation into McCamey Manor last year. Because according to District Attorney Brent Cooper, who spoke to News 2, torture is technically legal between two consenting adults, but anyone can revoke their consent at any time. Since McCamey allegedly refuses to let people quit once they've started and outright stated in the film that there were no safe words, he could be liable here. With the AG also citing some of McCamey's customers who said that they didn't have a chance to review the waiver ahead of signing up and complained that the $20,000 prize is impossible to actually win. But then with all this, back in March,
But that's why. That's why it's impossible to win, though. Because the screening is so he could weed out anyone who could twist him into a pretzel. His claim, oh, I prefer people with background in the military or law enforcement. Okay, show me how many. Show me proof. Prove your statement. And that's what any journalist with their assault would have said to him, was said, well, can you prove this? I guarantee you what he'd say next. Oh, well, we can't disclose our customers' information.
McCamey actually sued the Attorney General, claiming there that the information requests and inspections of his property violated his constitutional rights. With his lawyer telling News 2, every Tennessean should understand that they are each simply one misunderstanding away from being targeted by a coordination of government power, just like Mr. McCamey.
Oh my God. I'm the victim. I'm the victim. And look at the threat. We're going to threaten you, but I'm the victim.
Notably, one, that lawsuit was dismissed back in August, and two, McCamey voluntarily dropped another lawsuit against Hulu and the production company behind its documentary, though he upheld a lawsuit against one of the interview subjects in the film. Now, as far as the AG's investigation, it's unclear right now what the status is on that, whether it's ongoing or concluded, but for now, we'll have to wait to see what happens from here, both legally and as far as what's going to happen to the people that are signing up for the manor this year. But then, in some election news, Republicans are despite the fact that Michigan has allowed citizens and service members living abroad to vote in federal elections for years, with guidance from the Secretary of State saying that a U.S. citizen born outside the country is eligible to vote in federal elections in Michigan as long as they have a parent or spouse who previously lived in the state, which is what led to Judge Seema Patel dismissing the case yesterday, saying simply the guidance language lines up with state and federal laws as well as the Michigan Constitution, and then adding in her opinion that this lawsuit is a, quote, 11th hour attempt to disenfranchise these electors in the November 5th, 2024 general election. And then, in North Carolina, you had a situation where the RNC also requested a court order for the return ballots of some overseas voters to be set aside and not counted until they're eligible.
Oh my God.
The case yesterday, saying simply the guidance language lines up with state and federal laws as well as the Michigan Constitution, and then adding in her opinion that this lawsuit is a, quote, 11th hour attempt to disenfranchise these electors in the November 5th, 2024 general election, and then reportedly been wooing. And even though overseas ballots reflect only a tiny fraction of the votes, I mean, this election is running so tight. They're also pointing out that the rule that the RNC apparently has a problem with here, it's been around for over a decade and it was adopted with bipartisan support, though yesterday and saying they're born outside the U.S. whose parents used to live in the state. And there we saw Superior Court Judge John Smith also shooting them down, denying the court order yesterday and saying there is, quote, absolutely no evidence that any person has ever fraudulently claimed that exemption and actually voted in any North Carolina election. With Smith also pointing out that the rule that the RNC apparently has a problem with here, it's been around for over a decade and it was adopted with bipartisan support. He also requested a court order for the return ballots of some overseas voters to be set aside and not counted until their eligibility.
my famous flying shoulder block again. No, I can't. No way, brother. Not today. Saying you took my gimmick so long, now I'm going to kick you in the face. There you go. Right there. But seeing this, you can see they gave you different outfits. Even my old black jean shorts, when I first came to WWE, I had longer black shorts right here. Oh, no, Matumbo right there. But you can see I switched right there to those. So they have that. There's China. I'm going through picking right here. It's me versus Taz and No Mercy. Now, as we come back to me, Chris, I want to explain something right here. I was terrible at playing all these games yesterday. I've been terrible because when you go from N64, Dreamcast, PlayStation, and then Xbox, the control configurations are all different.
Oh,
so I need to remap my Steam Deck. Remap the Steam Deck to be a universal control scheme. I got to find that. So, but I was terrible at all these games when I played them. But here's the entrance we're going to go into. Now, this was really one of the first games to have the Titantron with the music and everything. We're not going to play the music. Everybody hates it. But right here, they have the Titantron pop up. And then basically you'll see Bull and myself come out. Now, this was also one of the first games to have a second when you came out. So it was pretty cool.
And you couldn't have any video. You couldn't have any. This was still on cartridge. The Titantron, because you just couldn't play any good music. You can play any quality music like MP3, like on the PlayStation, because that was on disc. This was still on cartridge, and it's still 64-bit. And you couldn't have any video. You couldn't have any good music. So all of the Titantrons.
It's already been done. Well,
the Cheney thing. Do we really have to do that?
Finally, somebody asked the question that I've been wanting the campaign to.
How is that? The Cheney.
Hi, the Cheneys.
How is that? The Cheney thing. Do we really have to do that?
Look, it goes broader than that. Look, Bernie Sanders, Dick Cheney, Taylor Swift.
No.
That one.
No.
The shooting?
No.
Having the Cheneys on board?
Nah. You can't Dick Cheney or Taylor Swift. No.
We're a big tent.
What country did Taylor Swift get us to invade? No.
Yeah. No, don't you think, though, that, and I do this, I believe this, there is still a core group of folks out there, your point being, and not joke, the don't tread on me, the Reagan piece of this, the libertarian piece, but the constitutional piece, there are a lot of people out there. I think Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney give permission to those folks who want to find a reason to do the right thing. It doesn't mean they agree with us. We're not going to take their foreign policy decisions and discussions, and implement those. We're going to take their
promise?
Yes, promise.
Yeah. First off, it's really incredible that Jon Stewart continues to be the only.
I mean, no. No, it's really this simple. It's really this fucking simple why they're doing the Cheney thing. The Cheneys got their names on the book because of G.W. Bush. Dick Cheney. That's where he got his name on the book. And all through that presidency, the Republicans were like, yeah, GW might be a dumbass, but Dick Cheney, he's smart. He's the one who's really running things. And Dick Cheney was highly respected with hardcore conservative Republicans. So the point being that I figured even an idiot should be able to figure out, look, if even Dick Cheney says, you know what? I'm not voting for Donald Trump, but not voting for Trump isn't enough. I'm even willing, as a hardcore conservative Republican, to vote for the Democrat candidate just to stop Trump from taking office. That's the whole point. Look, people, Donald Trump is so bad that Dick Cheney, of all people, it would be like if Rush Limbaugh was alive and Rush Limbaugh hated Trump and openly endorsed Kamala Harris. Yes, Kamala should acknowledge that. It doesn't mean that you can't turn around and acknowledge that he's a shithead after these, he's still a piece of shit after the election's over. But coming up to the election, you go, look, say what you want about me, but Donald Trump is so fucking bad that even Rush Limbaugh is willing to vote for me to stop the motherfucker. It's like that scene in Chronicles of Riddick when the wind elemental lady says sometimes to fight a great evil, you use a different kind of evil. That's how a Republican voting for a Democrat would look at it. Well, to stop Trump, we got to vote for Kamala Harris. And that's the whole point of it. It's like, look, Trump is so fucking awful. So fucking awful that Dick Cheney is willing to vote for a Democrat to stop him. That's the whole fucking point. Why can't you get that through to your head?
A lot, but I had a director on Man in the High Castle who had done some Game of Thrones, and it was like right when Game of Thrones was the thing. And I was a series regular on the show, and at the time it was the second most expensive show ever produced behind Game of Thrones. Right. So of course they're going to get this guy. This guy shows up and he's rough talking everybody, like rough talking my hair, makeup people. I don't like it, and I get so angry by it. And so I would always get him at the end of the day, and he would spend 7 hours shooting people walking down the street, and then I would get him for a critical scene, and he would to take me, right? Or just be really on me about something.
So you said something to him.
So he did this thing where he was rough talking everybody, and I kept saying, I'm going to have to talk to this guy. I'll pull him aside. And I asked the cameraman, a camera operator, who was my buddy, who's there every week, something, and the director came over to me in the middle of the take and did this. You know why you're not more successful? Do you know why you're not a bigger actor? You don't listen. You should talk to me. I'm the guy. Do you know the hierarchy here? Went on to me, and I tried to talk it down, and then I lost my mind. Producers were called to
What'd you say?
3:00 in the morning.
Fuck
I called him
you.
a low rent midget asshole. I said the reason why he acted like that is that he was 4 feet tall, and he was a guest in our yard, and he was treating people like shit, and you can't do that, and you will not talk to my crew like that, and you certainly won't fucking talk to me like that.
Was he better after that?
No, he escalated it. So
He wanted to hit you?
He got aggressive, and then I heard him. So it was like this thing where we would separate, and then something would happen, and we would come back together like two fighting dogs. This has never happened before.
And
since,
never
by
got
the
along
way.
with him at all.
No. And so I heard him say at the monitor, and Ty, interesting enough, Ty said he also had a problem with this guy years before this. And so I heard him say at the monitor to his assistant, well, the next time I'm back here, I'll do this. And then I came from the doors of the stage. Oh, motherfucker, you're not coming back. You will never be back here ever again. You've treated everyone here so poorly.
And they grabbed you?
Yeah.
They said, okay.
No, they actually, people clapped about
When
it.
people push you, that's the thing.
I couldn't believe I was capable of that. But
I hate authority. When people are not.
I love DJ Green.
Taboo.
When I'm feeling low, you do your thing just so.
Triple H was close to walking out on WWE. Not this way at all. Vince McMahon was seemingly building the back up to one.
Drive, so we were flip-flopping every night. One night they closed, one night we closed. Well, this happened to be one of the nights we were closing. Where the dressing rooms were all downstairs. Right? It was like a maze down there. I'm in there shaving. And I hear Metallica's intro start. And I'm looking up in the mirror and I'm shaving. I got the razor in my throat. Door flies open behind me. There's
Bing, 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 bong, 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 bong. Blomp, 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 blomp. Now I'm 41 minutes. I'm going to restart my stream.